done this over and over, it seems, through the spring, so I was just opening it up to you on your thoughts coming out of the spring. You've only got one more practice, you'll be in shells.
Yeah.
Have you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish?
I think we're certainly on track. Yeah. There's probably not a coach in America that doesn't wish that they were farther along than they are. You always, or at least I do sometimes. I had to watch myself to recognize the positive strides that we've made and understand, hey, this is practice 12 of spring practice. We're not supposed to line up and play a game tomorrow. So when you put it in that context and kind of reflect on certainly where we were at this point last year, where some other teams have been at this point that I've been a part of, and then kind of where this team should be, with 34 newcomers in January, a new quarterback in the room, and I feel like we're on track, but I hope we still continue to make a lot of strides between now and Saturday.
It almost seems like the most important thing coming out of it might be to find out who your leaders are that continue your mission of what you're doing in the off season.
Yeah, I think in today's portal era, if you will, some guys that enter your program really don't have a chance to show their leadership until the off season. And case in point, Jackson Ambush. I mean, maybe the most looked at leader on our football team. We won the captain last year. A really good player for us, but I think he got here in June or whatever and just kind of feeling his way around. So to have that many newcomers also be here in January, I think really kind of allows a lot of those newcomers to force themselves into a leadership role if that's kind of who they are. And we've seen that with some newcomers, and we've seen some guys grow from last year. And it's hard to lead when you're not an integral player. There's been guys that certainly have done it, but I look at a guy like Jason Platt. Nobody would have considered him a leader last year, and I would argue that's because he didn't play a lot. And this year he's playing a lot more, and you see those leadership qualities come out in him. So even the guys that were here last year, you're seeing a different version of themselves or of them because of just the makeup of this team right now.
Coach, when he was here recently, Coach Lunsford talked about Milan Tucker, Wendol Philord, and Jason Platt standing out as the receivers when they take part in special teams, especially punt returns.
Mm-hmm. What
have you seen from that trio that you really like from them?
Well, with the two transfers, we got a lot of experience there. I think Milan was all confident, maybe all American on some polls as a kickoff returner. So hadn't done a whole lot of kickoff returns just yet, but they have fielded those, done a lot of punt returns, and to see those three guys, knowing what we lost last year, and especially I think it was Special Teams Player of the Year, wasn't he, in the conference. So those are big shoes to fill, and we have very big expectations of that team, that unit, by the precedent that was set last year. And so I think any of those three guys, as of now, we would feel comfortable jogging out there, and so it'll be a good battle going into the fall to see who can take the first rep at it.
And follow up on that, you said that you haven't really practiced kickoff returns yet, but if you had to pick a few players, who would be your early candidates to fill in that position?
Well, certainly Milan, Caden Shields-Dutton is one that's going to get some reps there. A little different body type that you want a kickoff returner. That's a more straight line speed, maybe a little bit more size and mass because you got to bounce off some full speed on tackles, but a lot of times those guys are out of control coming down at you, where punt returner is more of a jitterbug, kind of make you miss in a phone booth to get the thing started to go. So a little bit of a different, I think Zuberi and CJ would be excellent kickoff returners, and we've got to see how much they're going to play offensively as well. So I think we've got some good candidates, and then certainly ones that are very experienced at it as well.
Coach, when Coach Rock just talked to us, he talked about he doesn't game plan for when he plays Coach Fry in the offense. What do you think Coach Fry in the offense does well?
Well, I think with both quarterbacks now, those guys can move. They pose problems with their feet, extending plays, and the read game, if you will, read a guy, running back, quarterback. So I think having those two guys behind center adds a different dimension. And we're running the ball a little bit better. We're not maybe as experienced up front, but we got guys in the backfield that have shown really good patience and good burst. And so I think those are the things that stand out. You gotta account for the quarterback's legs. And when they're wearing black jerseys and they're non-contact, it's a little tough to simulate that. But having coached guys like that, I think we know what we're doing when we get in scrimmage type situations. And then, there's more home run ability and maybe double and triple threat in the run game right now.
Obviously, the secondary, especially at safety, had its injury issues last year, especially Amani Adams in particular. What are you looking to see most out of the safety position, and which players are you looking to see make the biggest jumps in their game throughout spring?
Yeah, consistency. One, it was a revolving door there when we started to get guys banged up, and the guys that we put in were hit or miss in terms of doing their job, and so it was. Like I said, it was not a comfortable position to be in when you're having to change your starting lineup and change the rotation as much as we did. But so I think consistency, and then the physicality. We play so much quarters. We play so much drop down cover three that you better be able to tackle a running back at the line of scrimmage or for a 1 yard gain. Because if they get to you and they're making 4 or 5. Then we got to rethink, our defensive scheme, because when they get to you, which you're supposed to be unblocked and making 10 tackles a game, you got to make those plays. And so I've seen that with a couple of newcomers, a couple of guys that have gotten older and more mature. And you mentioned Armani Adams, certainly having him back in that room adds a level of experience that it would be tough to match if you weren't there.
You talked about if you had to play a game in a few days, you'd probably be a little bit worried about the offensive line. With 4 new guys pretty much going to be starters, did you expect a little more progression at this point, or was it kind of expected?
No, I think it's expected. We've got different guys are playing different positions every day. It's a different combination. Some guys are a guard, center, tackle. So I think more so the spring has been at that position. Who's good enough, right? Who's individually good enough to be one of those best 5, and then we'll kind of figure out the best unit and how to piece that together here in the off season and throughout training camp. But I think the biggest thing we wanted to see is a lot of these either new guys or guys that were on the scout team last year, whatever the case may be, can they do it? And then we'll kind of rank them and then kind of say, okay, here's our best 5. Let's figure out a way to get them on the field.
Yeah, just building off that, do you think it's important that eventually when they find their spot, they kind of build that continuity in that spot, or do you think just...
No, yeah, I do think that's important at that position. There's very few positions in football where you don't rotate or, a series or 2 to another guy. O-line and quarterback, are the 2 that stand out. And we would love to have, the same 5 guys start week 1 that, play in the conference championship game. And so, but we also know that may not be realistic. Maybe the 6th best guy is that close to 5 and deserves to play and continue to battle that guy. So a lot can happen between now and then, but in a perfect world, you would, I think, assuming there's a line of demarcation between the 5th and 6th best guy, I think you'd like to go in the season, with a solidified 5 guys that can play every snap.
Following up on the safeties question, which players are you looking to see the biggest jump?
Oh, yeah. You know, I think Wansley's had a good spring and has made some jumps to, for us to feel more comfortable with him being an every down player back there. I think, Jay Will has moved from nickel with Wendol playing well. Wendell's been playing some nickel, which then puts Jay Will at safety, which has been a good thing. You know, he's probably our most versatile defensive back, but it takes a while to get your feet wet back there. It's a little bit different than blitzing and playing at 5 yards from the line of scrimmage at nickel than playing safety. So his growth at safety has been good and one that I watched. You talk about taking the next step. I know he's a familiar name, but he's playing a different position. So for him to take a step there would be good. And then, some of those two young corners, and oh my gosh, Thule and Scott and Fabo. Those guys. Because there's a lot of competition at corner right now, and those guys staying ahead of the pack, they've got their work cut out for them.
Speaking about that depth in the cornerback room, how important is it considering just the injuries just naturally piling up throughout the season?
Yeah, you said corner.
Yeah,
corner. Yeah, that's another position that was a revolving door last year too, and the question was asked about the entire secondary, and I include them in the consistency category. We've got to be more consistent, just assignment, technique, all of that stuff. There's never been a corner that hadn't had a ball caught on them, and it's going to happen. But as long as we're in the right place, right time, with the right technique, good things usually happen. And so the consistency of being able to do that has definitely been improved. I think offensively we're not maybe throwing the ball quite as well as we were, at this point last year, but when they've been challenged, they've done well. I think it's going to be a really good battle, and like you said, the depth is going to be critical, because I'd be hard pressed to remember a season where two corners played every snap defensively. Good.
Thank you.
Coach.
A little bit about how have you been able to reach some of your expectations this spring, and maybe what you hope to get out of the last couple of practices?
Honestly, I feel like I haven't necessarily reached my expectations yet, because I expect a lot out of myself, but definitely I'm making steps towards to getting to those expectations. And honestly, I see where the future definitely is projected to go. I'm looking forward to where it's going to be. And then, what was your next question?
What do you hope to do the next couple of practices before the spring game?
Oh, honestly, just close the gap on where I want to be and where I'm at right now. I'm just looking forward to kind of honing in on the little details of what they're expecting out of me to play on the field, and what I'm looking out for myself to do on the field, and just show who I really am on the field. I've shown it in spurts, I feel like, but put a whole game plan together and really show that on Saturday.
You talked about just your room in general. Can you talk about the competition in your room and how it's going so far?
Oh, yeah, yes. No, it's definitely very competitive. A lot of young guys that feel old in the game, football IQ, and just the way they play the game, you can definitely see it on the field. And just honestly, like Platt, Michael Johnson, Omari, K's coming back off the IR, so it's definitely good to see like the young guys that haven't got to play in the beginning of spring come out and really compete immediately. And definitely it just shows like how deep we are at the receiver room. There's not just one guy that just shows out, and it's the ones, the twos, the threes. It doesn't matter who you put out there. We all are capable of making plays and just being out there.
Milan, obviously making the transition from App State to FAU, what convinced you to come over to join the Owls?
Honestly, the coaching staff really, and being back home is another thing too. It's back in Florida, back in the stomping grounds, but the coaching staff really sold me. Just having a lot of coaches that were either head coaches or played maybe in the league, or even just have league experience up there, definitely changed the game, and it's something that is not taken for granted, especially in college football. it's rare to see that, and definitely everyone's bought in to Coach Herman and what he believes in, and also having just the knowledge of the NFL is something that not many people can either touch or graze upon. So
You're one of the guys competing for the punt return job. How much have you done that at the college level, and how comfortable are you in that particular role?
punt return is something new, honestly, because I've been a kick returner my whole time there. They had Caden Robinson as the punt returner. It's definitely new, but it's not foreign. It definitely feels comfortable back there. It's definitely things you need to work on and little details that you need to hone in on to excel at that position. But returning, to me, is just returning. You get the ball and somebody that can make a play. It's just gonna happen.
How hard is the noodle drill?
It's something fun. It's something new. I never really had the noodles before. I've done tennis balls. I've done people just hitting my arms, but noodles and adding a different element to the game is definitely something fun.
How big has Coach Beatty been for your development since you got him here?
Oh, very much. He's helped me grow, and just he adds the little details of the game that I feel like I have good football IQ, but he makes it to where you can be great at the football IQ, and it just taking it to that next level is where I really want to grow, and he definitely helps me get there by the way he talks and the way he handles himself, as well as how he handles it with us.
With the amount of time you spend playing between offense and special teams, how much does that benefit you in being versatile with your skill set?
Very. I feel like the more components you are able to play on the field, it definitely helps you learn the game even more inside and out, and also helps the coaches help you see what the coaches are trying to get done on the field. Especially they see it from the box or they're seeing it on the tape and they can watch it back. But when you're on the field, you can give them instant feedback and have them really like know what's going on from play to play, rather than having to wait till halftime or something. You can make legit one play adjustments instead of wait 30 plays down the road and then be like, oh, this is what they were doing, guys.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
Touch just a little bit of the same thing. I don't know what time you walked in, but how your spring has gone, what you've, something that you've enjoyed learning this spring, and maybe something you'd like to work on between now and the spring game.
Alright, so I can go now?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, beginning of spring was kind of slow couch, just learning plays and stuff like that. So I couldn't really play fast. So, but from the last week and couple days past then, I've been going pretty fast, going pretty well because I know the plays now. I can play fast. I know the keys. I know what to look at. I know my job, and I can just be a playmaker that they brought me here to be. I mean, I came from NAIA level, and it's D1, so I mean, everybody thinks it's a big difference, but it's not really much of a big difference here, except like the D line, the O line. So, I'm just glad to be here and show that anybody can play at any level.
You think like the skill positions are pretty similar in terms of NAIA to here? And just like everybody's fast, everybody can run, everybody can catch.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can say there's always a few gems that have been missed, So I played against a couple guys, obviously not like Mario Harrison Jr. is he's like one of a kind, but for the most part, everybody not him. So for the most part, everybody not that far apart. And I like to think that anybody can play anybody, when the time comes.
Wendol, you got to experience what it was like winning a national championship, winning the NAIA title with Kaiser. How would you describe that experience of knowing what it's like to be a national champion, regardless of the division level you're in college football?
I mean, obviously it's a great feeling. Not everybody gets to say there was a national champion at college level, but from I'm at D1, nobody pretty much cares about what I did at NAIA. It's a different level and stuff like that. But I would still like to be proud of what me and my team accomplished, because the year before that, we went, played the same team, but we lost, and we came back and won and beat the same team this year. But I mean, it's a different team, from last year. I know they went 4-8, but I feel like I know what it takes to win. I feel like the team has what it takes. It's different air around. Everybody wants to win. Everybody's talking about conference champion and stuff like that, bowl games. So I would like to think it's a different team than last year, even though I wasn't here.
Wendol, did you play in the nickel at Kaiser, or were you more boundary?
No, I played nickel. It's the exact same position I played.
So how do you like playing the nickel in this defense at FAU?
I love it because I know, God given willingly, if I go to the next level, I'm gonna be a nickel too. So I'm just, preparing myself for the next level. And, nickel's not too much like different than, corner, you playing man. I mean, it's more physical, blitzing and stuff like that, of course. But besides that, playing man and, just doing whatever coach needs you to do, be a playmaker.
How's the chemistry with your teammates in the secondary?
So I think the chemistry, even though we played with each other for a short amount of time, I think I'm the newest guy within the starting lineup beside Bugs. But I think, with Phil Dunham, Dede Hill, 30, then you got Jay Will and stuff. I think we pretty much, and Darius McClendon, we got him. I think we're pretty much gonna be ready for anybody, coming to try to take the top off or try to embarrass us. We'll be ready for anybody.
Like Tucker, you also take a lot of time playing in special teams, whether it's in kick returns or punt returns. Do you have a preference? And if so, how do you plan on approaching on getting that starting spot?
Funny thing is, I like kick return better than punt return because I feel like this is not safer, but there's a lot of less collision going on because punt return easier than kick return because you can make 1 or 2 guys miss and you be gone. But sometimes punt return you call fair catch, guys don't care, they still run down and hit you. So I would say kick return, but wherever coach needs me, I wish it would be punt return. That's why I'm willing to play and show that I'm willing to do whatever he needs me to do to make the team better.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
With everybody all spring about chemistry, but you're really one of the older guys who can explain how important that is and how that's coming along this spring, especially with a room full of new guys.
Yeah, the chemistry is, it's picking up pretty good. In the beginning, it started back from winter workouts and running routes on there with the quarterbacks and doing, different stuff individually. And now it's transitioning to the field. So yeah, the chemistry is getting real good. We progressing way better than what we looked like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's looking good for right now.
BJ, with this being the final week of spring practice, how do you and the team want to end spring campus? How do you want to end it?
We want to end on a strong note, of course. With the spring game being on Saturday, we want to make sure we fix every little in and out that we've been working on during the week, during the past couple of weeks. So we want to finish out strong and show the fans that we progressed, even though we lost a lot of guys during the off season. That we still the same team, even better. Got a lot of pieces that we added to the team, and got a lot of leadership. It's coming from everywhere. Leadership coming from different position groups. So it's we want to just show the fans and show our coaching staff that we can do it and we'll be better than we was last year.
You talked about it. You have it's pretty much a brand new receiver room. What do you think your skill set complements the other receivers?
Me personally, I feel like first of all, my experience. I'm probably the oldest in the room right now, so they look up to me. So for that leadership role. And just other than that, just a speed aspect, stretching the field, and just having that dog mentality when things ain't really looking how it's supposed to look, and just keep my head up and just making sure I can be somebody that they can look up to when times get tough, when adversity hits. So,
and how are you liking the new quarterbacks? Obviously Tyreek's back, Michael's back, but specifically maybe Cam, he's new. How are you liking them throwing the ball you?
Yeah, I like them. I love them. I love both quarterbacks. It's hard to pick who I like better right now. So, like I said, we've been working since the off season, and Cam and Reed, they've been looking good and stuff like that. So, whichever one we go with, that's the one we're rolling with. So,
For you, how important is this upcoming season? You've had, your share of injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Are you looking for, this is the year I've got to really break out?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I've been thinking about it. I think about my injuries and think about adversity a lot. But it's something I look forward to. I think I pride myself on going through adversity and pride myself on going through the hard stuff. So I feel like it'll be a story, a crazy story to tell when it's all over with. But this last season, I look forward to making big plays and making big things happen for myself and this team.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.